Okay, welcome back everybody. Had to take a bit of a break there. I rearranged some of the cameras. Actually, just rearranged one camera. But I'm going to try to get this into a better spot because we're going to be working a lot on the small scale here in just a minute. So I'm going to give you guys a better view there. Obviously, this is the continuation of the Prusa i3 MK2S build, unboxing and build. I've already unboxed it and built most of it. Got part the way, I think, the beginning of step 7. And had to stop because it was taking a lot longer than I had hoped. Obviously, it is what it is. So I plan on finishing this tonight. We are on the home stretch. So let's just jump right back into it. So the first thing, let's just review a moment and go back. Actually, let me do one thing real quick. Yep. All right, so we're going to go back a moment, excuse me. And we're going to make sure, yeah, we already zip tied that. Make sure the switch is in on the left, so I need to make sure my power supply is switched to the correct mains for the Americas. So I'm going to take the little screwdriver they provided, and it should be in the 110, 120. So down, because I've got my sticker here that says 110 volt and 220 volt. Definitely not 220. Want to be 110. The switch looks like it's already down, but I want to make sure that it's all the way down. So it looks like it's all the way down. Perfect. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this back around, make sure my wires aren't getting caught up or torn on anything. We're good to go there. And so got our Y plate ready to rock and roll. So if I send the option nuts on the Y belt holder screws, you have to remove them. So we're going to remove these nuts. Remove only the nuts. The M screws, the screws M3 time stuff must remain in place. You'll need them to connect a heated bed to the belt holder. So we're going to undo these nuts, and we're going to place them in the spare bag because they are now officially spares. And those bolts look like they're starting to, or the screws look like they're starting to try and push their way through there. I wonder, as I wander out under the sky. So let's just move on. So we'll get to that point in just a second. So now we're preparing the heat bed. So the heat bed comes with a print surface, yellowish foil already stuck to it. Do not remove it. Take extra care to prevent damage to the surface. So we're going to need some 4, precisely M3 8R screws. So where's our M3 8R screws? So they are these small round head screws here. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. It says there's 5, so we'll find out what the 5th one's for here in just a minute. So we're gonna have to tilt the whole entire printer up on its side. So I'm gonna put it on the power supply side because that's the most stable side for it to lay on. So now I've got it up on its side. Gonna get along to the bottom here. Now I do want to check since I've got it on its bottom here. This one bolt was working its way loose up here. So I guess just because it's not attached to anything yet. So we'll have to just keep an eye on that, make sure that doesn't come loose. Preparing the heat bed, blah blah. So now we need the heat bed. Yay, we're getting to the fun. Fun. Oh, and by the way, I noticed while I was off stream that my stream from earlier today, it was one long stream, but it broke up on YouTube. At least I didn't check Twitch. It broke up on YouTube into multiple different videos because of some crashes and some internet loss or some internet issues. So I'm going to have to try and fix that later on. So this is our print bed. And as you can see here, it's the original Prusa i3 MK2 by Joseph Prusa. And this heat bed is called the heat bed MK42. which 42 is the meaning of the life, universe, and everything, for any of those that get that reference. And then this is the foil that they're talking about. You do not want to remove this foil. And of course it says hot zone, do not touch. Do not touch. Ouch. Ouchies. Exclamation point ouchies. And then this yellowish tint you see to everything here is the PEI sheet. This is the sheet that helps the prints adhere to the print surface without without much other treatments or anything like that. So there's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 standoffs here, and the 2 standoffs in the middle, and then there's 4 on the outside edge. So what we want to do is we're using the 2mm Allen key to tighten the heat bed to the Y carriage. Tighten the screws with care. Threads inside the heat bed can be easily damaged. So you want to be very careful is what they're saying. So I think I'm going to get, they want us to finalize the heat bed, so at last. So what I'm going to do first then is I'm going to do the corners. So I'm going to do the corners I can reach better first, just to get it so it's not floating in the air. So get that one started. Whoops. Is that the right one? No. It's the 2mm Allen key, by the way. Which is not that one. I just keep grabbing the wrong Allen key. There we go. And we're just going to get that until it feels snug. No tighter. Don't want to damage those threads. Get the bolt in there. Get started in the threads by hand if I can, which I can a little bit. Get the Allen wrench in there. Perfect, got it snug up in there. Just a little snug, nothing too fancy. I'm still going to try and keep my hand on the build plate. Don't want it to get ruined. Slide that around. So now that it's all lined up, I should be able to do these pretty easily as long as I can get to them. Push that far enough forward, yes I can. Perfect. Push the bed all the way forward, it looks like. Sorry, my head was kind of getting in the way. It looks like you can push the heat bed all the way forward and get in front of the frame so you're not working with the wires. With the wires in your way. Oh. This one feels a little tighter than the rest of them, so I'm just going to go gently until it's tight so I don't ruin the threads. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, I know what that 5th one's for already. All right. So we're going to get this last corner in there. And oh, already started. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now we've got that in there. Very nice. And then last but not least, we're going to grab our larger Allen key. And we're going to kind of give ourselves a little bit of back pressure on there. And we're going to get these Y carriage screwed into place. Oh boy, that's teeter-tottering. So see, I would have rather have done these first so I can make sure that they're going into the standoffs better. But you know, hey, I feel like it's going in there. Now this machine is pretty well planned ahead by Prusa. I mean, he's made enough revisions of this machine. He's been making the machine a 3D printer for years. So, you know, he's thought about a lot of different things. So it feels nice and tight. And that's what it's got us doing. See right there. Step number 12. Tighten the Y belt holder to the heat bed using the supply 2.5mm Allen key. Make sure that the M3 ×2 screws are screwed into the heat bed. And no spaces like between the nut on the heat bed and Y carriage. So that's going to be really hard to see on camera. In fact, impossible to see on camera, but I'm going to look down on there. And I do not see any space, but I'm going to just check with tightening it some more. There we go. And there we go. Beautiful. All right, so now we're done with it standing up for the time being. I think we still have to sit up 1 or 2 more times. So every time you have to move these around, you got to make sure to be very, very, very careful of all the wires. They have now flying around freely. There we go. Make sure none of them are getting pinched or at all sat on like this one is right there. There we go. We can leave that over there. So now we need the heat bed cover cable. So that's what this is. So note the white cable from the heat bed can be also black version, however their function is the same. So this is all black instead of black and white like they show in the picture. And then I'm going to need one M3 times 8 R nut. That's the one that we need. And we need one M3 nut. Boom. That's what we need there. So got these two pieces, and then we've got our, so let me see if I can show you on camera here. There you go. So our M3 nut, M3 8R nut, round head, or M3, excuse me, M3, M3.8R screw, and our M3 nut, along with our heat bed cover. So the way this works is that the nut has a seated section right here. Let's pin it apart. You could just push it right in. So there we go. And then it goes onto the heat bed, and we're going to do that in just a second. Oh, first, before we do that, prepare the filament. So there's another piece of nylon filament here. So I've got it's the shorter piece of the two pieces. There you go. And we want to place it into, there is a hole right there. So we're going to place that right into there. A little bit of force and a twist. A couple times. And there we go. Nice and good in there. And it says to take the, it shows to take the needle nose pliers. And, just make sure it's nice to see that. Oh, well, that had a long way to go in there. So yeah, grab your needle nose pliers, push those bad boys in there. Yeah, and it should come all the way out. It actually goes through this piece right here, and it comes out to almost that hole that you see. So actually, let me show you what I mean, because it pushes pretty far in there. Let me give you a zoom up view of it. So monitor only, zoom and monitor. There's my zoom camera. So focus, 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 focus the wrong way. So there you go. So what you see here, this, there you go. So this is the nylon filament going in. This is the printed part that's shiny and lined. And then this is the nylon filament again going through there. And there's a outline of the nuts hole right there. So it goes all the way through. So make sure you grab those needle nose pliers and get that piece all the way through. You don't want to miss out on that, because what this does is this is the strain relief for the wiring coming off the heat bed, which you definitely want to keep the strain off of the soldered joints here. So we've got that all the way on there now. Push it all the way in just like it says. The filament is for the whole harness. And then it says if you're experiencing difficulty when inserting the filament, use the pliers to cut a sharp tip. I did not have that problem, but there is the sharp tip that they're talking about. We need to assemble it, so make sure that the filament is pointed to the right while the cable holder is oriented upwards. See the nut. So I luckily actually already have it going right. It's where its natural bend is. And then there's a hole, so what we can do is place this over top of our cables. We need our cables going to the right. And let me switch to the next picture so you can kind of see what I'm trying to do there. There you go. The cables go to the right along with that. And then the bolt goes through. And we do need to put this up on its side for just a moment. So let me kind of get ready for that. Like I said, we're going to be moving it a lot right now, so be very careful of all those wires. Now I can take my Allen key, go in here, tighten it up until it touches the bed. Taking that right now. Okay. Takes a little bit of work to get it tight up in there. I'm going to stand up. Sorry, locking the camera there. I'm actually not getting it to go through. Okay, it's in the way. Just having a little bit of issues getting it to go all the way through. Got the cables. Did that do that right? Okay. All right, so tight, and then a little bit of a quarter turn. I didn't do quite a cold quarter turn because I'm messing with the heat bed. All right, so now we make sure that that's tight. We're going to wrap the heat bed insulation. So use the spiral wrap. It's the last one. I love it when we come to the last one of things because that means we're getting close to the end of the project. It's absolutely fantastic. So all we're going to do is we're going to wrap the beginning. There's a piece right here of this printed part we just attached to the heat bed. It sticks off. That's where we're going to start our spiral wrap. So you want to do the first wrap here. Kind of hold it against that. Start wrapping it around. Let's see if you can get 2 wraps. I wonder if I can get 2 wraps around that piece. I went too far on the wire already. Get 2 wraps on there. Let's see if it'll stay. Got 2 wraps on there. Let's see if it'll stay now. What's going on here? Come on. Oh, that's good enough. That's fine. Once I get it on, I can try and maybe see if I can get another wrap on there. Alright, now we just continue to wrap all this. Oh, just slipped off of there. Let's see if we can screw it back on there some. Does it say to zip tie? It does say to zip tie it on there. Okay. Do not cut the filament, you'll need the full length. No, white cable can also be black. Slice spiral wrap onto the holder and the heat bed cable. Okay, so let's just do that last. So let's get this all on here first. And then we'll put it on. So wrappy. Wrap this all up. Wrap it up. All right. So now that I got that all wrapped up, that slid on there. I'm going to take our zip tie from that kit, and we're going to put it around, and it looks like they have the head at the bottom underneath, so that's perfect. Probably not as important as where they are on the other parts of the printer, but still doesn't hurt to be meticulous. So I'm gonna pull that nice and tight, and then I'm going to use my side cutters, and boom, got that nice cut off. All right, moving on now. All right, check to see if everything is correct. Ooh, here's the fun part. So now we get to see, is everything correct? So again, putting it back up on its correct side, and we're going to make sure wires aren't getting caught under anything. Got a bundle of wires just sitting there right now, a lot of stuff to hook up. And what it's asking us to do right now, it's asking us to stand up and look down to make sure that our 2 smooth rods here are parallel with the horizontal lines on the build plate. So I'm gonna cross my fingers. Probably gonna block the camera here a little bit too. Sorry. So here we go. So let's take a look. It's in our book. Reading Rainbow. And you know what? It looks like they might be. I don't see being out of parallel. Maybe slightly. This side looks like it might be a little further this way than this side is. So another way we can check that. Oh, sorry, I'm speaking like right into the mic. I'm sure I'm blowing your ears out. Apologize. Is if we take, I'm just going to take this little, I had a post-it notes, and I'm going to put it right on that line until it hits the frame. And put up against this frame. So yes, this side is a little bit farther forward. So if they're not in parallel, use a 17mm wrench to adjust the M10 nuts to get it correct. So if this side, so that side is right because the P is the power supply unit is correct. So this side needs to come back half a millimeter. Just enough, we need to make sure the M10 threaded rods are all the way down in the slot. Okay, so I understand what they mean there. So of course it's the side with all the wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unsnap these real quick from their housing. I'm going to pick these up, tuck them away over here so that they can try and stay out of the way, not be damaged. Sorry, you guys can't see that, so I'm going to try to stack those up out of the way. I'm also going to try and jimmy that way. Take this clip off, take this clip off. And just for the sake of it, I'm going to try and measure that measurement if I can. And I think, yeah, okay, I can. Take this out of the way here. So I'm going to turn this on. Loosen it up. So this is the measurement that should be 100, or at least pretty darn close to it. You see, I've got 99.83, 99.85. Let me check this one real quick. So 99.77, so it's not exactly 100, because I have this power supply unit plugged in correctly. So 99.75 is what it needs to be. So maybe yours is going to be slightly different than 100. I'm 99.83 up here, it looks like, 85. So it needs to go back 0.1 millimeter. Boy, that's pretty darn close for all the measurements I've done earlier today. So I'm just going to do a slight change there, and what just happened is the entire frame kind of tilted away from me because this needs to be seated all the way in that frame there. I'm going to pull on it while I tighten this side up. Check this measurement again. And it's supposed to be 99.75, or within a reasonable close proximity to that. I'm getting 99.63 now. 99.64. I think I went too far. Let's find out. What is this one again? 99.75. 99.62. So I need to go even back just a little bit. Just a hair. There we go. And then of course I'm being very careful of all the wires here. Let me mix this one up. Yeah, that's it, Brad. That might be good right there. 99.7577, right around in there. I don't think I can get it much closer. I'm going to tighten this one up to this side there. All right, so one last final check. Check the bottom one first. So 99.75, within a reason anyway. 99.75, within reason. Whoops, sorry, apologize, dropping stuff. All right, so I think we've got that step taken care of, the checking everything's level, but we're gonna do one more check. Oh, can't forget this. So we want to make sure and put our clips back on. So remember that we're alternating these back and forth. So this clip has the open side of the clip facing away from the outside of the printer. This clip's going to the inside, so this one has to go to the outside. So I'm going to clip it onto the rod first and put my cables back in there. And then one more clip, and this one's going to go towards the inside of the printer. And then I'm going to slide the cables back in there. Beautiful, got that nice and straight throughout there. All right, so let's get my wrenches out of the way, get that back out of the way, cables back out of the way. Go to the top of the printer. Make sure all the wires are free from being crimped or crunched underneath anything as I move it. Everything still seems level and straight. I'm going to check one more time. Looking down. Let's see if they're parallel with my smooth rods. Oh man, that looks pretty darn parallel to me. I'm going to do my little way of doing it. So if you just grab like something you know has a flesh edge. I wouldn't use anything metal on this. You don't want to scratch the PEI. But if you've got something like, a piece, this is just a Post-it note. And Post-it's really good at making straight edges. I mean, they're as close to straight as you're going to get without spending a ton of money on a tool. So I'm going to line that up with one of the horizontal lines on the bed here. See if you can see what I'm doing. There we go. A little bit of glare. And then once I get that lined up, push the bed back till it hits the frame. And then come over here. Check the same thing. Yeah, it's still probably 0.1 millimeters off. I mean, I can't complain about that. And that's what the live, not the live, but the auto calibration is going to be fixing. Is that the any type of inconsistencies like that? We'll see what the firmware says. How particular my installation of this is. All right, so we're getting pretty darn close. We're almost there. So we've already done all that. So last finishing touches and done. No, we're not yet. We're not yet. And I'm not going to put those on yet. So these are the, this is the spool holder. There it is. Probably another thing I'm going to print pretty quickly because I don't like the way the spool holder is. Because this just clips onto here and you can adjust it, and your spool rest on these two little pieces here. And the hole in the spool is usually about that big around, and your little hole is that big around. So like a hot dog in a hallway. Bum. That joke, sorry. All right, so we're going to skip this part for right now. So I'm going to just set these off to the side and let my let that for later. Now I gotta admit something. I just put two M3x18 bolts into the spare bag. I'm not even thinking about it. Where was I supposed to use those at? Let me go back. Hey, to error is human, right? M3x18 bolts or screws go where? Oh, okay, that's right, because I grabbed the M3x20. That's right. Okay, so if you missed it from the first part of this stream, what they call the PSU-Y that bolts to the back of the frame and to the power supply unit called for M3 times 8 by 18 millimeter screws with washers and nuts. I couldn't get them to go all the way through, so I used M3 by 20 and got them to go through perfectly fine. They didn't go further than they needed to go, so it looks like that it works out fine for me. So I'm going to go ahead and that's right, I do remember that now. So they do belong in the spare bag. Let me make sure I got everything done. Everything's done on that one. All right, on to step 8, the electronics. Ooh, this is the scary part. No, I'm kidding. This isn't scary. This is the fun part. We're almost done, folks. There's our beautiful back of our printer. Let me clean up a little bit here. All right. So moving on. All right. So what we're going to need now is we're going to need our pliers, our needle nose pliers, and then we're going to need our M2.5 millimeter Allen key, which is 2 of them in this package, in this kit. Oh, thanks, Ray. Hey, you're back. I'll try not to get distracted, I promise. All right, and then we're also going to need the Rambo base, and it says there's a new version and an old version, so I'm assuming I have got the new version because I've got the newest kit. And there's also not only just the this is the door, the cover door. This is the cover base, new version. Yep, so this is the cover base, new version. This is the cover base. Let me see to show you what I'm looking at. This is the second picture here. So yellow is the old version, so it doesn't have all the slits in there. Although that's weird that it does have, still has a grid. That's really interesting. I don't know if yeah, you could see it. There you go. See that grid? I wonder why it did that. Because it wasn't a grid before. Anyway, okay, I'm going to move on. Apologize. That's really strange. And then this is the cover. And then we also have our 2 hinge pieces here. So the red one is the hinge, the big one. Well, the red, see? It's got them weird. So this is the Rambo hinge top. Green is blue, or green is the top, okay? And the red is the hinge bottom. Okay, I'm just crazy, sorry. There we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we need a Rainbow pack for this. So we're in 8 electronics. So we grab our nifty box that's marked 8 electronics, or 8 ELE. Of course, 8 electronics. Oh, hardware. We've got some nuts and bolts. Beautiful. And we've got, I mean, I swear they just probably like grab a bunch of zip ties and just throw them in there, because I don't know if you guys can see, but all these zip ties I have left over from previous kits, but I'm going to leave these here just in case there's some special size one. I don't remember there being. And then this is our beautiful Rambo mini board. So I'm going to leave that in its static bag for the current time being. And that was the last box, or the last set of hardware and stuff. So I need to get out of this bag now. Says that I need one of the M3NS one piece all the way in. So it's a square nut. So there it is right there. And that goes into the door. So we're going to hold the door with the notch. The notch of the door is down. There is a spot for the square nut right here on the door, and it slides in. And that's pretty tight. So I am going to do what you would do with most prints after it comes off the bed. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to take this needle file. It's a little stringing in there. Corner's got a little bit of layer issues, nothing huge. Get that a little cleaned up in there. All right, so let's see if I can get that to go in now. There we go. Yeah, see, it goes right in. There's the file being pushed in all the way. Perfect. All right, so now I got that in. Gotta be slower, Jeremy. All right, and now what we're gonna do is identify the mounting hole A. So this is on the side with the, so where is it telling me to look? Mounting hole A. So the side without the power supply unit, so the side with the X-axis motor. And if it's in the way, then you just turn the threaded rods to get it, the X-axis up and out of the way. So that's what I'm going to do right now. All right, so that's up and out of the way now. I just noticed that that's not on there right now. Interesting. Why did you fall off of there? Sorry, I just noticed after turning that the whole printer up and over a whole bunch of times that the wire bundle up here has come loose. I may have missed the step where I was supposed to zip tie these on there. I'm sure I did. I'm sure Ray's about to yell at me. I'm kidding. Ray, you don't yell at people, do you? I'm going to go ahead and zip tie that on there. I'm not even going to waste my time going back. I'm pretty sure that I missed that step. Side cutters. Okay, so mounting hole A, there's 2 in a row right here, and 1 and then 2. So it's the bottom of these 2 in a row. Is this 2 angle ones? Okay, yeah, so that's right. So I need M3 10 screws. Oh, so the box has the sticker on it. So I think that's funny. The picker for my batch on the electronics was picker 42. Just like the board is MK42. 42 is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. It's not the same picker for all the bags, though. Interesting. So I need M3 times 10. And I need 2 of them, so that's 1. And two. All right. And we're supposed to identify the holes, and it shows them being screwed in. So I'm going to go and screw them in just to make sure that the threads take. And I don't need to screw them in from the other side first, which I don't think I can actually, because that's got the smooth rod in the way. Right, so that one took, and it's the bottom one of the next set. So I think. There we go. All right, so let's see if I can get the camera in there close enough so you can see this, and if it will zoom in, or if it will focus on that. So Sorry about all the jarring motion there. I just want to make sure that I'm showing you and I'm getting the right holes. So ignore this set of holes right here. Let's ignore them completely. There's on the right side here another set of 2 holes, which if I look at this picture and zoom in on it, actually there's a better picture there. Zoom in on it here. So there's 2 sets of holes and this set of angled holes right here, which are the holes that we see here, that set and that angled set. It's the bottom of this 2 set right here, perfect. And then there's another set of 2 holes with another set of angled holes. So that's the angled holes here, and then the 2 holes here, and it's the bottom hole right there. So those are the ones that I have it in, so it looks like I've got it. So let me get my camera back. Further back. Higher up. Get you guys a better view of my work surface. There you go. All right, so now Rambo cover assembly. We need another 2 M3. Well, I need 1 at least. I'm with 1 M3 times 10 screw. So let's grab 1 more M3 times 10 screw. And we need the small hinge, M3 times 10 screw. Yep. We need the small hinge, and we're going to put the small hinge with the hinge knob, or whatever you want to call that, up. Can I go forward? Yes, I can. Beautiful. I guess I could have seen if these threads took 2. Now this is the bottom, the one that's in line with the right hole. So it's the of the angled 2 holes on the left side of this portion of the frame. It's the bottom one that's farther away from the inside of the frame, if that makes any sense. The picture shows it really well right there. The bolt I have in there already. This lines up to it. For the electronics board for the multicolor upgrade. Oh, okay. So he had planned this for a while then. So that's for the multiplexer for the stepper motors. That's pretty ingenious. Instead of having to upgrade the Rambo board, just use a multiplexer. Use that G code that he can use. I don't know a lot about software and G code, so that's where I'm going to be learning a lot with this information here. So, but let's continue on, and then we need to start with the door. The door with the air. The door is the one with the air vents in it, and we need the air vents portion down with the solid portion up, and we need to put this on its home with a slight angle. And then we need the larger of the hinge, and we need another M3 by 10 screw. Apparently, yeah. I'm pretty sure Mr. Joseph Prusa has got a lot of plans in store for this. Any good businessman does. So now what we're going to do is I've got the screw in the hinge with the hinge portion facing down. And then it says to put the hinge portion into the door, which you see in the picture there. Let me get in the middle of the screen so you can see. There you go. Blue arrow has the hinge installed, and then we slide it over to the frame and screw it in. So we got that installed there. Got my Allen key. Slide it over. Sorry, my hair's getting in the way again. You know what? I could probably see better if I were to take that out first. There's the hole. So, Ray, what do you think about the multicolor upgrade? Is that something you're thinking about doing? Or have you ordered it along with your kit? sorry, I had to get in the way there for a minute. That's not working. There we go. Feels like it's working now. A little bit tougher than I would think it would need to be. I might be stripping that screw. That would not be fun. Probably in the not too distant future, yeah. I want to get it to have it, so I have that option. I can't think of much I would do with it, because I know with having to retract one color, even though he's got it as a single extruder, and it automatically retracts the one color and then loads the next. That process of doing that for every single layer, if you have something that has a complicated color system, like I saw this unicorn print that had like its rainbow going through its leg, belly, back on its other leg, so the color changed multiple times on each layer. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, man, that print had to take forever because of how much it had to retract, and then those retraction lines. Yeah, and I'm not too sure if I like a Bowden setup, or I don't know. It might be good. I've seen arguments both ways of the direct extruder versus the Bowden. I won't go into the semantics of it all right now, but at the same time, I've seen the pluses and the minuses of both. My favorite is the direct extruder, obviously here, but Bowden has its merits too. So, all right, so now we need to got that in there. Move that heat bit all the way towards the LCD freezer axis. Got that all done. Secure the upper hinge to the frame. Done. Make sure both hinges are vertical and parallel to the edge of the frame. So, yeah, it looks like they are. The door is flush. Swings back and forth nicely. Very good. See, even the picture has this little slot. It has all these little things on there. There are two versions of the Rambo height. New version with no vents on the back. Insert M3 nuts. Okay, so now I need 4 pieces M3 nuts. This is supposed to be easy enough to change color. Yeah. I've seen people do it. I guess the upside to the multi-material upgrade was that it's automatic. Obviously, you don't have to be watching the print constantly. And then also, if you have multiple color changes in the middle of a layer, like I was talking about that unicorn, that had multiple colors, like 4 different colors on one layer, and then the next layer, those same 4 colors, but in different sizes, and then so on and so forth. If I find it, I'm not going to look for it right now, because obviously I want to finish this. All right, so there's a lot of stringing inside of that nut housing right here. It's going to take my window file and try and clean it out some. Looks like they're having some temperature issues at the old Prusa farm. Either that or they're having some traction issues. Yeah, because look at all that stringing right there. Man. I'm sure they print these parts pretty fast. Probably got them high speed, because this is the black and not the orange. All right, so I'm going to use that same trick from earlier in this build to get these M3 nuts seated inside here. Maybe don't need to bang, but let's see if I can get it in there seated by hand. I feel like I can, yeah. Yeah, that feels good. It feels real good. And my major concern with any of the multicolor single extrusion methods is the waste of time and plastic that you would have to do to just do 2 colors on a single layer multiple times over with, you know, clearing the nozzle. Because obviously when you retract filament, there's still some of that color filament in the nozzle. And I guess maybe the software could plan for that, but it wouldn't be precise enough, in my opinion. And so if you wanted to be precise, you would have to purge that extra filament of that color that you don't want anymore, you know, off of the print, and then also then, you know, prime the print head for the new filament color. So just I think a lot of wasted time in plastic. All right, so I've got the 4 screws in the 4 nuts into the Rambo cover base. And now I'm going to move on to preparing the electronics. Ooh, we get the fun part. Yay, yay, yay. So I'm going to set this up in front of me just like it is on the screen. I've got the let's see if I can get this centered better here. So I've got the and I'm just not getting any light over here, and then there's bad glare. This hole is going to be on the opposite side of me. The Rambo board is going to go in here, so I need M3 times M3 10 millimeter times 4. So M3 10 millimeter times 4, which is this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And those are going to mate up with those nuts that we just put in there. Oh yeah, the filament wasted printing from mill to step. Yeah. I mean, there's many ways to waste plastic in 3D printing. So. All right, so now it says the slide electronics on the Rambo base cover. Secure the board, placing M3 times 10 screws, 4 pieces. So let's get, let's see if we can get this back one in there first. Nope, that didn't work out very well. Don't want to scratch up the board. So let's place the easy one first. Keep the board from moving around. Get that lined up with its hole. So I did wonder when I was looking at the different choices of the Prusa kit, and you know, you had the choice of the orange or the black. The orange was quicker because it seems like it's the one that everybody's ordering, so the black is taking longer. But it's funny that there's black printed pieces on this kit. I get the power supply unit, you know, base, because that's not a printed piece. That is, I think that's a retail piece that orders from a different manufacturer. Much like the metal plates, but this is a black printed piece. Why isn't this an orange? You know, was it a design choice? Was it a money choice? Is the black cheaper than the orange? Since this is hidden behind everything. You know, I mean, the feet behind here are hidden. The motor mount's hidden back here too for the Y-axis. Why not make those black? I don't know. It's just little things that I think about like that. There was obviously some sort of conscious decision with making the Rambo box black, and I wonder what that conscious decision was. I mean, who knows? What I wouldn't give to be on a fly on the wall of the Prusa offices at any time. While Joe's there, of course, or anytime really. Just to hear what's going on. I probably wouldn't understand a word because I only speak English. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers here to... Now, sorry, this is the kind of work that you can't stream this well enough, unfortunately. But you guys get from the pictures what I'm doing. I'm up here on step 9. I'm putting the 4 M3 times 10 nuts in the 4 corners. You do want to be careful that you're not scratching up any of the chases or lines or any of the parts on the board. These 4 screws are mating with the 4 nuts that I already seated into the other side of the base cover. These you don't need to tighten up at all. I mean, as soon as they hit the board, stop. You don't need to tighten them. It's just Just electronics board. There's no weight to it. It's not going to have any movement. In fact, a little bit of looseness isn't going to be too bad. It's not going to kill it. I believe they switched to black for the MK2S. Yeah. I don't know. I never saw the kits for the MK2, so so needles part to help piston screws. Click shut the Rambo cover base. Okay, so that actually just clicks onto there. I don't understand. Oh, okay, there it is. Oh, that's nice. So what it does is, since I've got those already on there, you just slide it onto there. Keep the y-axis cables in the hole. Okay. That just clicks onto there. That's interesting. Put this back into frame here. Oh wow, that holds pretty darn good too. Might tighten it up a little bit. I'm not going to tighten this all the way up. Sorry, my head's in the way again. I keep forgetting the camera's over there now instead of above me. There we go. All right, so now what it's talking about is to make sure that the Rambo cover or the y-axis cable into the hole. So let me zoom in on this so we can see what it looks like. So we're going over the top, and there's a hole all the way down here. There we go. All the way down here on the base of that, and we want to make sure that the last spiral is going through that. So what I need to do now is I need to lower the x-axis. And I do gotta say, I am wholly impressed with the holding capabilities of these stepper motors and these trapezoidal nuts with threaded rod. I would have thought that just leaving them hanging in the air would have had them falling by now, just from the weight of the motor and the extruder assembly. But nope, it doesn't. So that's fantastic. All right, so now we've got that, and secure the screw with 2.5mm Allen key. All right, so now we need to fold it up. Make sure we've got enough room. So I'm going to push it back up just a little bit. Just make sure you got enough room to close this. And make sure these cables stay inside of there. And then it snaps on the other bolt. Oh, that's clean. Ain't nobody. Oh, can't sing that song. It's copyrighted. Don't want to get flagged by YouTube. So I can't get to that bolt now, can I? That's an interesting. Oh yeah, I can right there. Okay, so if you look right here, there is a hole printed into this part. I was wondering what it was there for, and what it's there for is so that you can reach that bolt with this longer rounded in 2.5mm Allen key, and you can now tighten that up because it's behind the board now. Oops, and I'm pushing it out. So let me loosen that up some. Hold that piece in. Tighten it up as I'm holding it in. So you want to push in on the Rambo cover while you're tightening that bolt. Otherwise it will work, it'll walk its way out because you're tightening the bolt around it and it's turning. So it'll walk. All right. Oh, that's good. Pinch myself a little bit, but it's all for the greater good. Man, I'm just dropping stuff tonight. All right. So now we've got that where it needs to go. Moving on to finalizing the Rambo cover base. Slide the x-axis cable through the Rambo. So while attaching the Rambo cover base to the frame as shown in the picture. So I've already done that. Beautiful. Spiral wrap must run into the Rambo cover so it's held in place when tightened up. Yep. Tighten the Rambo cover base of the frame using, okay, so yeah, already did all that. Connecting to the electronics. Ooh, here's the fun part. So, X-axis motor, Y-axis motor. So the red is the X-axis motor. So we got our red axis motor. This is our X-axis motor. And it goes on the very top. So I really can't get a good camera view of this. So you guys are going to have to trust me that I'm putting these in the right spot. And what's great about these ends, this electronic ends that they have on here, is they're keyed. So what that means is that there's only one way to put them in to the board. So this one's a little bit tricky because it's not quite long enough. Can I force a little bit of wire through? Yes, I can. Good, good, good. And click. Need a little bit of a click. Pushing that in like that. The yellow is the Y-axis motor. So our Y-axis runs along here. All right, that's not the Y-axis. Oh, you know what's nice? That's why they did it. I love it. That's twofold. Great stuff there, Prusa. The ends are clipped with little yellow bands that say what motor they are. That's fantastic. I just realized, I knew they were there, but I just realized that they are for hooking the electronics up. So you can be confident first time when you're putting all this together that you've got the correct wires hooked up to the correct parts of the board. What I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to get some of these wires out of my way. So that's the Z, that's the Z. So that's just absolutely fantastic. All right, so I need to get this wire. And it's going to enter into the bottom there. So the next one, yellow, y-axis goes right there. A little bit of a snap. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So green is my two z-axes. So Z and Z. These are together right here. And they go front and back of each other. So I don't know if you can see in that picture. Actually, you know what? I'm going to zoom in for you here to the second picture. All right. So X is the red, Y is the yellow, and then Z and Z. And then this will be our extruder here. So you can see the Z and the Z are sharing the same driver chip. So that's the driver chip for the X, that's the driver chip for the Y, that's the driver chip for the Z, and that's the driver chip for the extruder. And then we have our end stops over here. I don't know which one is what. Actually, there's X minimum and Y minimum. I can see them right there. So this is an open build, so you can find this on Prusa's GitHub and many other websites for the Ulti Machine open source hardware. Rambo mini board for 3D printers. Get your own printed up or make your own. There's also a larger version of this that I have a copy of in another printer. So just wanted to show you that because that's what we're hooking up right now. Boom. So green, Y, Z, and Z. It doesn't matter which one. It is just a replicated port. So it is the same information going to each motor at the same time. There we go. So got those all hooked up now. Try and get those cables nice and clean and installed there. 100% happy with that. Well, we'll see. So the low voltage mains cable line going. So let's do the y-axis end stop first. So actually, we can do the x-axis. It's the blue, and that's the top one. X-axis. Again, these are keyed, so there's only one way to put them in. And then the y-axis and stop is right here. So y-axis and stop goes to the middle, right? There we go. And then the low voltage main cables wires going out of the PSU. The order does not matter. Okay. So I'm gonna trust the order does not matter. But again, these are keyed to only go in one direction. So you cannot mess this up unless you put the wrong motor into the wrong port, which really can't happen. So, and I am kind of taking my time with the electronics. Obviously, I don't want to screw this up. Why can't I get in there? I know you can win it that way. Try to put this one in the top. I'm going to the top just fine. Oh, that's why. Because I'm a dummy again. It's always my fault. I've learned that. It's always my fault. There we go. Got that all in there. All right, so I've got those in there the way they want them. And then the heat bed extruder cable guide. So what does it say in this last picture here? So yeah, those are the low voltage mains coming from the power supply and go across and back up into the board there. Very neat and clean. All motor cables have their markings for easier assembly. Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Prusa. Guide cables. All right, so now we're going to be doing the heat bed guide cables. So this is the heat bed cable here, and then we're going to guide that into with our needle nose pliers, and this part is pretty hard. So guide the cable from the heat bed through the bottom hole of the Rambo. So there's this hole in the back right here, and what we want to do, I'm gonna pull the heat bed forward a little bit. Open the door over the heat bed. Give myself some extra room here, because I've seen some people struggle with this. And then what you have to do is you have to push the filaments all the way down through the filament holder under the Rambo. So I'm dumb. I am dumb. I'm gonna have to rewrap this. Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. I did not get the thermistor and the spiral wrap. It's okay. So I'm gonna unwrap this now. I am a smart one. All right. So now, thermistor. Get this spiral wrap back on here. Get the spiral wrap to start on the heat bed cover again. Let's get started. Twist it a couple times to get it on there. Take one of these mini extra zip ties that they give us. in a zip tie. I don't think there's a waste when there's this many of them. You definitely want a zip tie on here so that it keeps the spiral wrap from sliding off, because this heat bed moves a lot. There we go. Got it. All right, so now we need our needle nose pliers again. We need our filament end. And it looks like it's that sticking straight out of that end. Grab it. And you slide it down in there. Yeah, this is easier said than done. Oh, actually, that was fairly decently easy. And you want to slide the filament, the nylon filament, all the way down. It goes pretty far in there. Then you want to now turn your cables around and get them into the little cutout next to that hole. And then now your thermistor and your heat bed wire are going into the Rambo box. The spiral wrap will stay on the outside. Note the white cable from the heat bed can also be black, which is what we're talking about. And then the it doesn't say the heat bed heater, so the heat bed heater gets plugged into the bottom down here. Doesn't show which one though. So let's see, heat bed heater. Let's zoom in on this picture. So heat bed is the left. So you can see there's two power ports here. One's going to be for the extruder, one's going to be for the heater. So it looks like the left one's for the heat bed. And actually, yeah, if you look at the output, it says output right here. And then right here, you can't read it in this picture, but it says extruder and then bed. And again, these are keyed, so they can only go in one direction. But actually, this wouldn't matter. I know for a fact that that wouldn't matter with this setup, but we're going to go ahead and take care of that. And why do I have so much extra heat bed wire? That's insane. That's a lot of heat bed wire sticking out of this box. And then we need to run the, and if you look at the purple arrow right here, this is the thermistor for the, and you can actually says right there, it says therm, T1, T2. So the T2 is the heat bed thermistor. And that's what tells the Rambo board how hot or cold the heat bed is. And there is a lot of extra thermistor wire too. That is not as tight as I would like it to be. So we're gonna kind of tuck that down. Actually, I'm gonna unplug that real quick. Run it a little bit differently. Just a little clip on the head of the wire. It needs to be unclipped to get it out of its home. I'll run it underneath the heat bed and the, there we go, yeah. That'll allow me to deal with the extra wiring a better way here in a minute. All right, so we got those two plugged in now, so we can close that down. And all that stuff is taken care of, step 13 is taken care of. So securing the heat bed cable to the Rambo cover base. So it looks like there is a zip tie. So there's the zip ties that came with this kit. And we want to put the head on the right side. Go into the Rambo cover. Come back out the other side. There we go. And around the spiral wrap. This is going to secure these cables to the Rambo box. Let's try and relieve any strain. Grab my needle nose, pull it a little tight, snip the extra. So that was the next steps. Pull it tight, snip the extra. All right. Moving on. Step 15, extruder guide cables. Moving right along. Beautiful. All right, so now we've got the guide cables from the extruder through the top hole of the Rambo. So this is the nylon that comes from the extruder body to here. Push the filament all the way. So guide the cables through the extruder, and there's actually going to be a receptacle in there for that. There it is. So we want to start that guide right there. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. So I'm going to grab it with my needle nose pliers again. Slide it into its home. Yeah, you need to put a little bit of force on there. It goes in a lot. Actually, don't need to go in that much. Never mind. Push the filament all the way down through the filament holder hole and into the Rambo. So it actually will continue through if you don't stop. So force the last spin of the spiral wrap into the hole of the Rambo. So the last spin is going to go into this hole right here. So I'm going to slide the cables all in there. Now that I've got that nylon filament taken care of, actually, hold on, the spiral wrap backed itself off a little bit. It needs one more wrap around the nylon. It should only be off on the last wrap, according to the instructions from earlier. And that's to allow the nylon to go into the hole here, but allow the cables to pass through once more. So all the cables are through. I am putting a lot of force on this plastic that I don't feel comfortable with, but let's do it anyway. That's pretty good. All right, so we've got that. And you see it's just barely got the first wrap in there, which is what it almost exactly looks like on my end here. I know the lighting's not that great from this side, but that is exactly what it kind of looks like from here. And then, yep, that's what it looks like. And then so let's secure the extruder cable to the Rambo. Oh, nice, interesting. So there's another zip tie chase that goes through there. And we want the head to be on the outside. Beautiful. And they are just ingenious with these zip tie chases. This one's not as clear as some of the past ones. I don't know if it's me or if it's the chase. Now, it would have been nice if we would have loaded this in hindsight. It would have been nice for, oh, you know what? It might be the spiral wrap. Spiral wrap looks like it might be actually going into the hole. Might be me, might not be. Might not be what I'm thinking it was. I thought it was maybe the print quality was not as much on this one. Not as good on this one. So let's get the beginning of the spiral wrap out of there. Let's see if that changes anything. That changed everything. That's exactly what it was. See, I speak too soon. That chase was just as clean as some of the other ones. Let me move this x-axis up and out of my way again. There we go. Tighten this, get this zip tie tightened up. But this is a challenging zip tie. There we go. Got it. So we got that, and we're going to tighten it all the way up, get the head exactly where that shows. Did I lose my stream? Nope. Okay, still alive. Oh no, I think I lost the YouTube stream. Shoot. Gotta wait for the YouTube stream to come back. Oh, there we are again. You know, when I was looking back, when I was offline at the previous stream, I didn't realize that the YouTube stream dropped so many times because the Twitch stream didn't drop. OBS tells me when the entire stream drops, but only Restream tells me when the YouTube stream, when it in the YouTube stream, and it's not even a notification. It's just it has a little button that says, "Yeah, I'm still here." Ray, you're just now getting. Let me respond in chat because he's probably. All right, Ray. Sorry, buddy. Looks like I lost the connection to YouTube for some reason. All right. So what I just did, in case you missed it, it did a lot. What was the last thing you saw, Ray? Because I just looked up and noticed that it was. I need to redo my setup so the monitors are not to the opposite side of my work area. When I planned this all out, that was not forefront of my mind, and it should have been. What was the last thing you saw? Well, I haven't dropped this evening. I thought it just dropped. Okay, all right. So the zip tie is now attached, and I trimmed it off just like it shows in the picture there on step 16. Boom, right there. All right, so we're going to move on to step 17, finishing the electronics. Okay, cool beans. All right, so now we need to connect the penta probe, the extruder motor for the extruder motor, the heat bed heater, and the extruder heater. So we're going to turn this back around so we can see inside here again. And that's what the rest of these monstrous amounts of cables are. So, according to this, it says start with the penta probe. So the penta probe is, not that one, that's the motor. Penta probe is pink. So let's see, penta. Where is it coming out of there? It's straight black on there. I think it's the black and red. Oh, see, I'm going to get a little confused here. So let's figure this out. No, there it is. It's the 3-wire one. Got it. So it's just like it shows on the picture there. The penta probe is going to be a 3-wire with a black, blue, and brown cable. I've got it right here in my hand. And that goes into the Z minimum end stop. And again, it's keyed so that it can only go in one direction. So you really can't mess that up. Perfect. Next, we need to, yeah, it was a black wire coming out of the pendant, but then before it hits the loom here, it is changed over to, it is black still, never mind. I apologize, you're right, Ray. It is all still black, it's just opened on this end. But as it shows here in the picture, oops, go back to it here. There it is. Zoom in on it so that we're not confused at all. There it is. So it's the black wire ends right here. You see that? Yeah, there it is. And then it becomes a black, blue, and brown. And then this is the Z minimum. So this is the penta probe. So really easy to figure out. And now we're going to connect the extruder motor, which goes into the only motor connection we have left on the board. So we're going to kind of weave it back through some of these wires. And again, it's keyed, so you can't get it in wrong. I just can't see through all the wires. There it is. You can see it now. Click. Get that little click in there. Just a slight click. You can feel it more than you can hear it. All right, and then that's where the yellow box is on here. And then the red is the heat bed heater, which I've already got plugged in. The orange is the extruder heater, which is what we're going to plug in now. And that is the right side of that high voltage output there. I believe that's a high voltage output. I could be wrong. And then this is a close-up. So the left is the heat bed heater, the right is the extruder heater. I don't know why they're different color cables. They are red on mine, not blue, and the heat bed is black. And then I've already got that connected in. So connecting electronics part 3. So we need the extruder thermistor, which they do have a convenient yellow with green stripe band, or is it green with a yellow stripe? Whatever, it's a green and yellow band on there. It's not as large as what the picture shows, but I guess that's just to exaggerate that it's on there. And that's going to go into our thermistors. And the green is the heat bed thermistor. One sec. I think I might have connected that into the wrong one. So glad we're double checking. So that goes into the far right one, which says therm. And then this one goes into the far, well, on the picture it's the far left one is the heat bed thermistor. White or black cable going from the heat bed, which that's what that is, yep. And then the extruder thermistor goes into the far right one. So you know what, let me do this. Let me zoom in on this board here. There we go. So there we go. So T0 is the extruder thermistor, and this is T1, this is T2. T2 is the heat bed thermistor. So I already had that, already said that, but for some reason didn't do it. And then underneath that, the blue and the pink. The blue is the extruder fan, going from the extruder, labeled with the blue. So again, it's labeled with blue. So that's very nice. So we're getting really tight in here. So let me zoom back into this one to make sure I'm doing these right. Yep, there it is there. So, and it's got a key on it. So it can only go one way. But then the other one does not have a key. So I'm just going to do it the same way that that one is. The red wire up and the black wire down. I'm going to assume those outputs for the fans are the same. All right. So we can close that back down now. And now we need to connect the LCD. So it's very important that we connect these the right way. So they've got the board out of the connector here, or out of the box here, but basically when we're doing this, we want to make sure that there's a red or what we would call a pink wire is facing away from the power outputs for the heat bed and the extruder. They've also conveniently marked it with some solid black marks. That's what you want to see when you fold it back over on itself. There is a 1 mark and a 2 mark one. The 2 mark one goes into the board closest to the motor drivers, and the single one goes into the board farthest away or towards the outside edge. So I'm going to plug in the number 112 first. And you can see that here. Let me zoom in here for you. So here we go. So this board, so these are all your motor outputs, your motor drivers that we've already plugged in everything. This is the power input from the power supply unit. This is the power output to the heated bed and to the extruder. We just plugged in some fans right here. These are our thermosistors. These are above here are all our end stops and our pendant probes. So then you got these 2 ribbon cables. You notice this pink or red is towards the end stops and away from the power output to the extruder and the heat bed. Folded back over on itself, so as you can see, it kind of folds back over on itself. There's a single black line and a double black line. They have marked them the same way. So you want to put the single black line on the outside of the board, and you want to put the double black line on the inside of the board. Makes it real simple and easy. They have thought of everything to make this easy on us, for the most part. All right, so got those plugged in. Absolutely beautiful. Double check the connections. It's important, so I am just going to go ahead and give each connection just another solid little press in on all of my connections. Those are in, those are in, those are in. Power's in, power's in. Extruder motor. Y motors. Next motor. This is motor. And those are connected in. Those are connected in. All right. It looks like all my cables are connected in pretty solid. They've got another view, and I guess that is keyed as well, so you really can't mess that up. You can kind of see here in the pink the key for the ribbon cables, but just never know. And then they do verify the electronics here, which is what I just did, but let's just double check, triple check. So yeah, so that's the X-axis motor. You can see the cable there. That is the Y-axis motor, yes. The Z-axis motor and another Z-axis motor, yes. Our extruder motor, yes. Power input, doesn't matter which ones, but yes, that is going into there. We've got on the bottom, we've got our heat bed on the left, our nozzle and hot end on the right. This is the print cooling fan with the red band, yes, correct. The nozzle hot end fan with the blue, correct. The heat bed thermosistor is black in my case with a green band, and that is going into T2, correct. The thermosistor for the nozzle is yellow and green banded. It goes into thermosistor 0, which is the far one. The middle one is empty. We've got our 2 ribbon cable in the left of the LCD ports. We got the 1 ribbon cable in the right LCD ports. We've got the black, blue, and brown PINDA in the bottom of the minimum end stop ports. We've got the Y end stop there, and we've got the X end stop there. So that looks good. Let me make sure that's the Y end stop goes up. Y is the middle one. Yes, Y is the middle one. Perfect. All right, so I feel like all of our cables are now connected in there correctly according to that. Yeah, mine kind of looks like a mess like that too. Maybe a little bit better, but not by much. And then what we're going to do now is finalize the Rambo cover. So it tells us that we're going to need an M3 by 40 screw. Man, we're getting excited. I'm getting excited. You guys getting excited? I know I'm getting excited. Where did my box go? Here it is. So M3 by 40 screw. I know, I guess this is this one. I don't know why I thought we were done with screws. Yeah, M3 by 40 screw. And that goes into, yeah, we placed that in there a long time ago, didn't we? So this go out the bottom here. This is going to be not fun because this is a lot of cabling. It is not clean. And it is going in there really tight. That's not too bad. That's blocking a lot of airflow though. So now an M340 screw goes all the way in there. We tighten that up according to the instructions. And remember that we are screwing printed part to printed part here. So once we get it tight, we don't want to tighten it too much further, otherwise we risk cracking the printed part. Okay, so that grabbed and then quarter turn. I feel comfortable with that. And congratulations, you just assembled the whole original Prusa i3 MK2S 3D printer. We're almost there. We got to run the pre-flight check first. So we are pretty much almost done. I'm excited. Very excited. See, now it looks like I lost Twitch. And it's back. All right. So, pre-flight check. So they're asking us for suggest a time. So what? It's 10:41 right now. So let's see how long this takes us for the pre-flight check. So ensure the printer is turned off and not plugged in. Definitely not. Have not done that yet. Move the extruder manually all the way to the left. So we want to be looking at the front of the printer. And we want to move it all the way manually to the left. Oh, I guess turning those motors powered it some. Don't want to do that. Yeah, I think that's what they're having us check right now, is that the cable travel is clear. It looks like it is, but we're going to double check it all, Ray. Appreciate it, buddy. Good looking out. Move the extruder manual all the way to the left by rotating both threaded rods at the same time on the Z-axis. Move the nozzle until you reach the heat bed. Okay. So we're going to go all the way down to the heat bed. And this is probably exactly what you're talking about. And I already see a problem. There we go. That zip tie wanted to hit the Rambo board. And man, that is just like some straight up, like, no clearance there almost. In fact, I think the Penda probe fire is rubbing there. I'm going to pull that back through some here. I can. Maybe stuck on there. All right, so this is the kind of thing this guy's checking out. We want to make sure that all these wires are clear. And they are pretty close to rubbing here. So I stuck it on my chair. Just a tile. Oh, I guess I can't get any closer there. So if I can get this Penda probe wire to cooperate with me. Yeah, see, that hits before it hits the end stop. Move the extruder mount and by rotating both. Check again from different angles. Nozzles touching slightly in, but don't bend the heat bed. Okay, so let me just do this one at a time, just like the instructions say. So I'm gonna keep going. Touches the heat bed. Touching the heat bed. All the way down, touching the heat bed. Pin to adjustment. Phase 2. Oh, okay. So move the extruder carefully all the way to the right. Make sure the nozzle is not scratching the print surface in the movement. If it does, rise to the right side of the x-axis of the rotating. So just scratching some, so I want to move it up. Okay, so I'll move it all the way to the right side. If an adjustment is needed, you can lower the nozzle height by rotating the z-axis counterclockwise. So get all the way to the right side. Okay. Pin adjustment phase 3. Move the extruder to the center of the x-axis. Locate this parts package. Take the longest. Zip tie. Place it under the pin sensor. Use the middle part of the zip tie, not the tip. And gently press it again. Okay, so that's an interesting way of doing it. So I need to move this back to the center. Which is right there. Tighten the screws on the pin holder again. Alright, so I need to lower this back down. That touches the heat pad now. And do not have the pin low enough. Alright, luckily I can get to the screws really easily. And then put the zip tie back underneath it. Alright, so that is now flat against that zip tie. So I'm gently pressing it against the zip tie. Then I'm going to tighten the 2 screws back up. Hold on. I don't feel like that moved. So now it's loose again. I think I was just pushing the printed part down. So this tender sensor is just not that easy to push down. Let me see if it shows a way. It says to push it with your fingers. So you're supposed to loosen those 2 yellow bolts. Now the bolts that have the yellow arrows for them. And then push down with your finger, which is in the blue there. But that's just not that easy. That is pretty tight in that holder. Oh, there we go. Too far this time though. So if I bring this up, put this back in the way. Stay there. Stay. Why don't you want to stay? Sorry if I'm a little quiet here. Trying to get the pin to probe aligned, and it's not that easy. So I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing here, but what I'm basically doing is I'm getting the Z-axis, adjusting it so that the hot end is just touching the bed, not pushing down on it, just touching it. But the pin to probe is too low now. I don't know what I can do. Actually, I can fix something I messed up earlier while I'm doing this. I didn't run that fan wire through the place it was supposed to go through earlier, and I was just going to deal with it. It's not a big deal, but now I can fix that. Get into your home fan wire. I don't know if you can hear me mumbling or not. I hope not. If you can, oh well. There we go. Fan wire's in its home now. So, but now I need to bring the Z-axis back down. The hot end, so it just touches the heat bed but doesn't bend it. And pin to probe is a little too far. Jimmy it up. Keeps going way too far too fast. I gotta say that this Penda probe mount seemed like it was going to be easier than the old one, but it's proven to be still a little on the difficult side. Getting it, and it's getting it. I know that we can adjust the live Z during a print in the beginning and the first layers of the print, but I don't want to have to do that. I want as much of this to be the way it's supposed to be as I can get. I mean, it's designed this way. Prusa and his team, the Prusa team, worked hard to get this working this way. They've made improvements, and they continually take feedback, positive and negative feedback, to help improve this product and improve the community as a whole. And this is one of those evolutions that I feel are going to be pretty staggering once some other companies start to try and make their own, or once you know, like I've already seen the board for sale on some of those sites like Indiegogo and clone boards, clones of the MK42 board. I feel comfortable with that. That feels good. So it should be similar to the last picture. Nah, that's still so hard to tell from a picture to real life. Good job taking a picture that close though, guys. Good job. But man, that is going to be so hard to just tell visually. mounts are now clear and tight. Got to touch the cord. That looks about right to me. All right. So one thing I am worried about that I'm going to try to address right now, so I'm going to bring this up, is that when I bring this all the way to the right, and I think this is what Ray was talking about, is checking the cable travel is clear. Before I get to my end stop, part of that cable bundle is hitting the Rambo cover door. I think I see what the problem is. Let me get this out of the way here. How am I going to address it's the question. I think I can see exactly what the problem is. So I'm going to snip this cable tie off again. Going to unwrap this spiral wrap some. I'm going to push as much of these extra cables up into the spiral wrap as I can. It looks like I need to have all this extra cable on this side. On the bottom would be the best. That's what I'm gonna try and do right now. And I'm sorry about the video having my head in the way a ton. You know what? I'm gonna go back to having this more overhead. I'm still gonna have my head away a lot, but at least I'll be in a better picture. All those bags that are trash are on the floor behind me. Keep rolling over them. All right, so now we're going to try and spiral wrap this all back together a little bit better this time. Keeping all those cables as tight into this package as I can, so that it won't hit that Rambo cover. That feels pretty darn good. I feel pretty darn good about that one. Before I tighten that, let me see if I can, there we go. Sorry, talking to myself a little bit there. All right. Got that. Snip the extra off. Before I take this back down. If it was you, wouldn't turn on till tomorrow. I am too excited, Ray. But good night, man. Thank you for joining me. I definitely appreciate it. For the call outs, but I'm gonna have to turn on tonight, but you can watch the video. If an explosion happens, you'll see it. So get it all the way over there. Okay, I'm a lot happier with that. Yeah, so it doesn't bounce off, so that's good. Beautiful. Especially because I'm not gonna have time to live stream tomorrow, and I want you guys to see it turn on and working. I want everybody who watches this video in the future to actually see the fruits of the labor that we just went through together. So there's a good video here on some of the checking. I don't have audio set up for it to play so that you can hear it. You can go to manual.prusa3d.com. It's on the guide 9. It talks a lot about the MK2, slightly different look, but however the principles of the calibration of the printer are the same. I've already watched the video, but you've also got the 3D printing handbook, 3D model, printable 3D models, which are included on the SD card, which is what I'm going to start with right now. Some Prusa knowledge base Prusa knowledge base links, so that you can get help with certain things. The Prusa 3D forum and everything. So basically, that is it for the build. So we have gone through it all the way. Right? If you want to hold on a minute, I know you're probably tired and going to sleep, but I'm about to plug it in. I'm sorry, I can't wait till tomorrow. Where did I put the power cable? This. So, power cable's right here. It looks like that travels fine. I'm gonna check travel one more time. Sorry. I'm gonna try to pull this all the way up. And pull this all the way to the right. And that goes all the way over there. Travel all looks fine to me. So we get everything into the middle. So we have some room for it to power on. Plugging her in. Can you see me up there? Oops. I was moving that way too fast. Okay. Getting some power to her. Power's on. Yeah, power's on already. English. Printer has not been calibrated yet. Please follow the manual chapter. First steps, section calibration. So where did I put the manuals? There they are. So she's powered on. No puff of smoke. No bzzz or anything along that lines. So that's the assembly instructions. Don't need that. We need 3D printing handbook. That's what it tells us. So I'm going to go to just the printer and me. Beautiful. And then we can probably get more of the printer in there. There we go. So about the author, table of contents, product details, all the stuff that us guys normally don't read. Blah, blah, blah. Self-start, kit only. Purpose of the self-start routine is to check the most common errors when assembling and connecting electronics to help indicate any possible errors after assembly. Run the self-test from calibration menu on the LCD panel. This should not be necessary on the assembled printers if these are pre-tested. Installing instructions retrieved from performs a series of tests. These progress and results of each steps are displayed on LCD in case an error is found. The self-test self-test is a diagnostic tool. The printer will still attempt to print even after the test fails. If you're absolutely certain that the affected part is correct, you may continue with the process. Test construed of blah, 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 blah. All the wars. So, original principle. Oh, there it is. I know what Prusa, what Penda means now. Prusa, induction auto leveling. So P is Prusa, IND is induction, and A is auto leveling. It was in the manual this whole time. The process is fairly straightforward, so let's get to it. We suggest you check our tips guides at Prusa for our new user guide first at prusa3d.com. Build video MK2. So we already, yeah. Calibration tips. Purpose place a sheet of paper, write office paper, for example. Checklist shipped. Okay, yeah, so we can use that. So place that on the bed. All the nozzles on the first round. The first 4 points being checked. Calibration. The nozzle catches on the paper during the process. Power off the printer and lower the printer probe slightly. Okay. Paper will not affect the calibration process. The nozzle must not touch print surface or deflect the bed by any means. If everything went correctly, continue with calibration. Especially in your stream performance series measurements. Progress for that. Please make sure. This advice is not followed, and there's possibly even the print nozzle, and the debris may touch the print bed or even push the bed away from the print probe. Did I miss where to do it? Progress results. Calculation. Self-test. So I'm going to keep my hand on the power kit here because the reason why I have this paper on here is so if the extruder nozzle hits the paper and starts to grab it, I can power it off before it starts to damage the PEI sheet. So I wonder if they should convert my CNC over to a 3D print. No reason you can't make it modular, Bradley. Is that Bradley? I can't read it from here. I'm looking at a monitor really far away. I think that's Bradley. I mean, there's no reason why you can't. Fan test left, hot and fan spinning. It is spinning. Front hot end test. The front fan is spinning. Yes, it is spinning. Checking and stops. Checking hot end. Here's the moment of truth. Oh, I'm scared. Yeah, Bradley, it would be an interesting mod if you made of a hot swap nozzle, so that you pulled out your spindle and then popped in a extruder. If you go on openbuilds.com, I think someone's done it already. Might want to check that out if you haven't already. Are they, I'm guessing they're linear bearings? Sorry, gotta pay attention to this. Sorry, got distracted. Self-test okay. Hey, everything worked. Nothing destroyed. Tapered bearings, okay. So no self-test errors. Beautiful. Calibrate XYZ kit only. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the paper on there, just in case. Calibrate XYZ. Calibrate XYZ. Rotate the knob to move the Z carriages up to the end. Okay. Well, okay, be careful rotating that. So I just kept rotating it. And it's supposed to bottom out like that, and that's fine. It's skipping a whole bunch of steps. Jesus. Press clean the nozzle for calibration. Press clean the nozzle for calibration? Please clean the nozzle for calibration. Okay, yeah, the nozzle has not been used yet, so click when done. Are the left and right carriages all the way up? Yes, I would guess so, because that was a lot of skipped. Place a sheet of paper under the nozzle during calibration. Okay, so that's what we've done already. Do that. I'm going to keep my hand on the power switch back here, because if it starts to drag the paper, that means I need to power it off, because the pin to probe is not low enough. Keep an eye on it though. Yeah, Bradley, this is the Prusa i3 MK2S kit. I streamed the building of this from 10 o'clock this morning till now. I was trying to get done in 4 hours. That obviously did not happen. I had to take a break at 5:30. Got back on here at 9. Just finished building the rest of it. So doing the calibrations now, and I will tell you that the guy, Joseph Prusa, that's responsible for building this and who's the namesake of the printer, has gone through a lot and done the right thing and made these things pretty darn simple. Yeah, it was a fun project. If I'm not mistaken, if you go to prusaprinters.org, I believe the kit's $699 plus shipping, which is like $75 depending on where you're at. I'm in the United States. I don't know where you're at, Bradley. It might be $6.99 or $7.99. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Here, I can tell you. $6.99 plus $88.56 shipping. I also bought some more filament for $30. So my total with shipping was $817.55. I didn't have to pay any import taxes or anything like that. No, those are not ball screws. Those are Acme screws with trapezoidal nuts. I believe they are 3-start Acme screws with 3-start trapezoidal nuts. But what I do like is that the Acme screws are the shaft for the stepper motors. So ball screws would be a little louder. So it's not as loud as a ball screw. Yeah. Piece of paper is not flat enough. Just switching the paper out because the other piece of paper wasn't very flat. They even send you, Bradley, Harborough Brazil Fizz. I've never seen this in the States before, but they're kind of famous for sending some Harborough gummy. Used to be Harborough gummy bears. This kit comes from Prague, so I can't read any of the ingredients or any of the nutritional information. I'm sure they're not good for me. They taste pretty darn good. Oh. Hey man, if you're gonna get one, do it. There's a bit of a wait. I will give you that fair warning before you order. I had to wait 9 weeks once I ordered it until it finally shipped. They are starting to ramp up production because they did move offices. I ordered it almost immediately after the new kit came out. And of course, in the middle of all that, they moved offices. So it took 9 weeks for them to finally ship it to me. Excruciating 9 weeks waiting for this kit. But I'm happy that I waited. I'm happy that I got the Prusa kit. I'm happy I spent the extra money. Because to be honest, Bradley, you could get a kit similar to this probably for around $4.99 or $5.99 or maybe even cheaper from China. But the parts may not be up to par. So definitely... Oh, pay attention again. Okay. I like it. Yeah, it's like getting a Christmas gift lately. I remember, speaking of you order something and then it's on back order, I remember ordering the Xbox One back when it was never even coming out. It was like a year out. They opened up pre-orders for it really early. I ordered it the first day it was available, and then I completely forgot about it. Work caught up with me, was completely busy, and then all of a sudden it was a day or two until the release of the Xbox One. I'm like, oh man, I've got to go get it. Not that I'm a big, huge Xbox One fanboy or anything, but I had a couple friends that were going to get it. And then I got the email from Microsoft going, hey, your Xbox One shipped. You'll receive it on release day. And I'm like, wait, what? And then I remembered that I pre-ordered it. So it was a nice surprise. Although I'm the one that ordered it. It really wasn't a surprise. So, Bradley, since you don't seem to know a whole lot about this, what this is doing is the heat bed is an electronics board. It heats up using electronic traces, but there's also 9 points on this board that it calibrates to. There's a sensor on the right side that you can't see called the Penda sensor, which I actually just found out means Prusa induction auto leveling, and it's a induction probe. And what it's doing is it's finding all 9 of those points, and it's auto leveling across the entire mesh, and they call it mesh auto leveling. The mesh auto leveling sees what the difference are between those 9 points on the board, remembers it in the firmware, so it can see any little inconsistency between those 9 points, and it can actually make up for those in the prints. Because with 3D printing, it's very important that you have straight, flat layers for every single print. So it's definitely something that the Prusa team, Joseph Prusa himself, have done really great with trying to keep 3D printing easy for the community. Yeah, I would guess. Yeah, so it's like a self-training compensation on the software, correct? And that's what it's doing. And it does this before every print, so it is a little annoying sometimes because it does take a while. This is the first time I've run it, so of course this is going to take a little bit. But it does do it before every print to make sure there wasn't any inconsistencies that happened in between prints, which is good because every print's important. And again, I'm keeping the paper there just in case the nozzle goes a little too low and starts to drag on the heat bed. It can drag the paper first, and I'll be able to rush over and power it down before it can damage the heat bed. The heat bed has a special coating on it. Yeah, I think it's worth waiting for the calibrations too. Sorry, if you didn't know, I am streaming this on both Twitch and YouTube, so I'm using a website called restream.io, and it gives a little bit of a delay between the chat and the video. So you're responding to things in chat, and I'm not seeing them. I'm not responding to them till later on, or you're responding to something I said out loud much later than when I said it. So, but the PEI sheet on here is a adhesion sheet. You need the plastic to adhere to the bed really good so it doesn't lift off and move around. But the PEI sheet is a plastic sheet, and if it starts to get scratched up, it'll ruin things. Starting to sound like techno music with those motors. It is a little loud right there. I don't know what it is about the tone it had right there. Measuring the reference height of calibration point 1 through 9. Hey, XY calibration. Okay. You know what? I need to take a picture of that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Sorry, gotta post this to the Facebook. This is the I think it's worth waiting. Really interesting. How is it doing that? How's it doing what, Bradley? Oh, so that's the Penda probe. So let me show you. Hold on. Prus prusaprinters.org. Okay. So I'm going to switch to monitor only here. Okay, so this is the Prusa website. Sorry about the chat being over there. So here's the kit. So there's the kit, $6.99. Right now the wait looks like lead time is 7 weeks. Looks like there is a the multi-material upgrades available too. It's something I'm going to be doing in the future. Talks about all the print qualities and everything like that. All the quality of the, that's not it. Where's the Penda probe? That Penda probe was listed here. Automatic mesh bed leveling. Oops. I know that I know that there's a spot that talks about it. I apologize, man. All right, so I think this is the article that talks about it. So it talks about being perpendicular, straight, left, and right. You can watch all the videos here. But what it is, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so the Penda induction sensor, this red portion here is in the board. This is the induction sensor target. These traces you see off to the left and right are the heat traces. There's 9 of these throughout the entire heat bed. That Penda probe knows how high it is off of this and how far left and right the center of this is. So you can see only 4 points are searched for in the first step: front, center, right, rear, and left center. And then it goes through and does all 9 after that. So it knows the ideal height, the induction sensor is too high, or the induction sensor is too low. So it knows. So here's the picture right there. That is the Penda probe going up and down right there, the heated nozzle, and it looks for these points. They used to have little circles around them on the board. I don't see those little, oh, there they are. I see one little circle, two, I see 2 little circles, but there's 9 of them throughout the board. And it processes how high it is off of there and where those are at. So if they're perpendicular to the print surface and they're perpendicular to the y-axis. So it, like you said before, it automatically trams itself, and if it has any problems, it makes up for in the software. Now, the message I just got where it says the axes are all perpendicular, that means that I don't have anything out of alignment. So notice that was a little loud. I got these little blocks. These are little just little noise reduction blocks for putting hardware. You might even have some on your CNC machine. But it's basically to help reduce the noise, because this table does not help, being a solid wood, well, it's not solid wood, but it is wood table, with keeping noise down. So I'm going to put these underneath each of the corners here. There we go. And that might help keep some of the noise down. So we're going to do something exciting now, I think. All right. So they provide this SD card. So this SD card has some prints on there. Let me go through back in the manual quick. So we did the XY calibration. We did not get any error messages. Anything else that we needed to... Distance between the tip of the nozzle and the bed surface has not been yet set. Please follow the manual chapter, first steps, section, first layer. So 6.3.5, 1. Calibrate Z. Calibrate Z is located in the calibration menu. So we're going to go back to the calibration menu. And we're going to calibrate Z. To start a calibrate Z procedure, printer prompts you for the following options: calibrate Z, move the Z carriage up to the end stops, click when done. After that, the printer asks, okay? Whoops, I guess it timed out. So calibration, calibrate Z, rotate the... So you don't want to do this too much, because every time you do one, it goes up a whole step. So if you go too far, it will just keep going and going, because it remembers how many times you did it. See? Not touching it, still moving. So what we're doing here is we're going to basically top out or bottom out each axis side, make sure that they are perpendicular to each other. They are. Please clean the nozzle as calibrated. Yep, nozzle's clean. Yes, the left and the right carriage are all the way up. Measuring reference height. And now what I'm still going to do, just for safety's sake, so I'm going to put this paper back on there. Yeah, also on some of the 3D printing sites where you can pay people to print 3D parts for you. The Prusa i3 is the most popular 3D printer the last time I looked. So that's pretty inspiring too, that the most popular 3D printer for people to use as a business to print things for other people is this Prusa. Okay, so I just did the Z height and no messages came up. If this advice is not followed, and apostrophe, blah, blah, blah. So now we want to do mesh bed leveling. So let's go back into our calibration. Mesh bed leveling. Can you find calibration? Before running this command, clean the nozzle. Nozzle is clean. Inside the circle, first or 9 points to successfully level the bed. Oops. Calibration. Mesh bed leveling. Just watching it, make sure that it goes into where it's supposed to go. That's pretty darn good. Calibration done. It says liberation done, but that's fine. Okay. So let's see, any other calibrations that need to be done? Menu, calibration, mesh bed leveling, auto home, auto home. And no, I just went into the menu where it says bed level correct, and there was no bed level correction needed. And the So stops diagnostics are all 0, so that means, I'm guessing that means they're good. So don't want to reset that. So let's go back to main. All right, so it looks like we're going to load some filament. So what I need to do now first is I need to put my filament roll holders on here. So I'm going to be in front of the camera for just a minute, because these snap on in the most aggravating of ways. There we go. It's a little bit wider than what it needs to be. Man, that's not easy. There we go. So that is on there. All right, now we're going to get some PLA filament. Oh, there's where that went. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Get these parts too. All right. I'm done with all my tools. Now. All right, now we're going to load up some filament. So we got all the calibrations. All the calibrations passed successfully. Now, if you are building this printer along with me at a future date, the manual here, the 3D printer handbook, user manual for 3D printers. As you run each test, it'll tell you the possibility of what the errors might be and what you would need to do in case you get one of those errors. And then if you do get one of those errors and you don't see any instructions how to do it, the help.prusa3d.com website is available. There's live chat on the Prusa 3D website. Lots of great information available all over the place. So this is my it's not ABS. It is late. It is PLA. There we go. Filament. So I need to get this done is I need to get this loaded on the top of the printer. So forgive me for being in the shot completely. Do this. Bring it up and down on there, so I'm not completely in the shot. And I need to slide these apart from each other a little bit more, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I think that's probably going to be one of the things I print here first. It's a new spool holder because I'm not a big fan of this spool holder. It's not the worst, not the best. Definitely not easy to get a spool on either. There we go. Now the spool does need to spin freely. So there we go. All right. Follow the instructions here. I'm loading filament into the extruder. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take in this little knot that I have right here. I'm going to cut it at a tip because it says to do that anyway. There we go. Now I need to preheat the nozzle, so I have to print right away. The temperature depends on the material used. Detailed information about nozzle and bed temperatures are described in Chapter 10. So, Chapter 10. Eight, 9, 10. PLA. Preheat. Already has it in here. Preheat for PLA. And what I am going to do real quick is I am going to grab one of the provided alcohol prep pads. So I got a bunch of grease all over the print bed there. One thing I would like to see, wish that this print bed was all the way forward and not back. Make it easier to clean while preheating is happening. I guess I should have cleaned it before it started preheating, but I can already feel it's warming up something wicked. Now this is warming up to Celsius temperatures, everything in here. Godzilla, Jeremy. My name really is Jeremy. Doing great, Jeremy. Thanks for asking. Alright, so following the instructions here, you need to preheat the nozzle. Press the LCD knob to enter the main menu. Go down to load filament. So it is taking the filament like a champ. Okay, so I'm going to insert the SD card. It looks like it goes in upside down. It's going to read from the SD card. So if I print from SD, is color clear. Huh? That's not on here. No. I don't see anything. Oh, I see. Now you need to go up. 10, 9. Move axis. Move X, Y, Z. There we go. Okay. Yes. Print from SD card. V2 calibration G code. So what I want to do is, first thing I want to do is I want to take that off of there. Hey, first print. It's a button. No, just kidding. And I am going to get out my things that I think are going to work for me really well. Beautiful. I got these. These are just plastic spatulas to help remove prints off of the bed without damaging the bed. So now I'm going to print from SD. I go to the V2 calibration. It's heating. Let's see, and choose line C. Alright, so that was just the first calibration there. Don't think that did too bad. So let's see. I'm gonna go back, preheat it for PLA again. Then next to -1. The point is too low level. Try that again. So what it's saying to do is to take a look at it, follow these pictures. The whole point is to lower the Z-axis until it's squishing the plastic on there just about perfect. And what's supposed to happen is as it's printing, I get an option for live Z height. So this is it, purging the nozzle here. Got a test strip going. Test strip looks like it's a little too high. So I go to live Z adjust. Oh, those last few layers look beautiful. I think those last layers look really good. All right, let's try a print. Who's with me still? Jeremy, you still with me? We're gonna try a print. All right. So we're going to preheat for PLA again. And I really like this, that all of this can be done from the LCD screen and an SD card. So that's really nice. So it's preheating for PLA again. While it's doing that, I'm going to go to print from SD card. The nozzle looks like it's fairly clean. PLA, Prusa, dual color, don't want that. Calibration, don't want that. Don't want the PLA whistle, don't want the PLA base. Triceratops skull, the tree frog. I want the Prusa logo. Don't want the castle. Don't want the budding. Don't want the beer opener. Batman. There's Adeline. There's Marvin. Alright, let's do the Prusa logo first. Bed seating. Here we go, folks. Oh, lost the Twitch stream. Sorry, Jeremy, I don't know why the Twitch thing keeps dropping. It looks like it dropped them anyway. I don't know if it did. So let me pay attention to this for a minute. The test strip doesn't look too bad. First layer is looking decent. I don't know. We're gonna see. But I'm excited. Printing that first print. Let me pull this camera down. Way down. So you guys can see the print. So now we play the waiting game. So Jeremy, is that still, are you still here with me? You know what? I am going to turn my overhead fan off real quick. I don't want any thermal runaway. What thermal runaway is, if you didn't know, is when the printer is having a problem heating up either the extruder or the heat bed. The first layer is not looking that great. Let's see, it's probably not low enough. So I might need to bring that pinda sensor down a little bit. I'm at 0.092 now. And that is pretty... I'm not supposed to go more than 0.1, I believe. I'll go back and look. Calibrate, mesh bed leveling, create the nozzle, cell CD knob, load filament, run that G code. I should be more than -1. Oh, I'm only at 0.0 something. -1, I'm at -0.1. That's looking a lot better on that second layer. I gotta tell you, once I put those anti-vibration blocks underneath the feet, it is fairly quiet. I don't foresee any noise problems. And I think the loudest thing on here is that left fan, the extruder cooling fan. I am going to go into... Oh, wait, that got a little loud. That's that. My motor. So high power mode, I'm already on. Okay. It's 15% done with the print. Lapse time of 10 minutes so far. Oh yeah, I forgot to see. I want to see what. Go back. So. Firmware version is 3.0.1. Let me see what current firmware version is. Supposed to be. All right. Support. Is that support? Oh, excuse me. Support, there it is. Drivers, firmware, manuals. So, firmware 3.0.11 is the latest firmware. Three point 0.10, so I am not on the current updated firmware. So I will update the firmware. And I'm pretty tired, so I'm gonna let this print. And I'm gonna shut her down, go to bed for the night. One of the things I plan on doing is printing a camera mount for the bed and putting one of these 2 cameras on there. I'm not sure yet. I might go the Octopi way and get Octopi control on this, get a little Raspberry Pi, an Octopi camera to mount to that bed so I can start doing some time lapses and then still live stream as well. So the layers are looking really good now. Don't see any separations, don't see any over extrusion or under extrusion. Looks like it's smushing it really nice. First layer had a little bit of a problem. Oh, Bradley, so you're picking up your wife. Some 20-year-old girl was driving with no license or insurance and was distracted with her phone and totaled my father-in-law's car. Did she run into your father-in-law's car, or was she driving your father-in-law's car? And yes, I do not understand people anymore either. Just blows my mind. I live here in Central Florida. And if you know anything about Florida, we are a melting pot of a ton of people from different states. Oh, she straight off the road and hit it. His car was parked. That sucks, bro. I'm sorry to hear that. Is everybody okay? Your father-in-law, nobody was in the car. And the dumb girl, is she okay as well? She also finished off the neighbor's cacti. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear everybody's fine. That's always important. It does suck the car. Cars can be fixed. Cars can be replaced. But she has no insurance, so that's cacti. You know, no big deal. But a car, that sucks. And she's 20, and that's just even worse. So, well, Bradley, I don't remember when you left. But I did all of the calibrations for the machine from the screen here, which is fantastic because everything can be run without a computer if you really wanted to. It has an SD card on this side that I popped in. Ran all the calibrations. They have this live Z adjust that has a test print file. And does the zigzag, and you kind of watch it, make sure it's smushing the plastic just right, and adjust in thousandths of microns how close it is to the bed. Smush that plastic down. I'll show you. I started out this print, it wasn't that great, but yeah, it does look like it's printing really good now. I wish I could get you guys closer to that print so you could see it, just how good it looks. I've got my close-up camera ready. Once the print's done, I'll peel it off and show it to you guys what went wrong on the back side and what looks good now. And got all that calibration done. All the axes were perpendicular. Got excited and posted that to the Prusa Owners Club Facebook page because you know, on the Facebook page you see a lot of people with problems after they built their kit. I'm really happy that I didn't have any. That I took the extra time to put this together. Again, I was really hoping to do it in 4 hours, but that didn't happen. I would have been done at 3:30 if that would have happened. Obviously, I was not done at 3:30. So right now, just printing up a little file that's preloaded on the SD card that Prusa provides. They provide a bunch of different test prints that you can do. This is just a small Prusa logo. Been printing for about 20 minutes, and it's about 29% done. So it's not too far. It's gonna take probably another 15-20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Yes, this 20 minutes has gone by pretty fast. Yeah, it's a NEMA 17 stepper motor. It's not one of the pancake ones. I was a little worried with how heavy that is, because the whole Z and X assembly gantry there, not gantry, but the whole Z and X assembly is only supported by the two trapezoidal nuts on the Acme threaded rods. One thing I do like about this kit is that these threaded rods here are the shaft for the stepper motor, and that means that there's no type of and I said it earlier and I'm totally losing my words now, but there's no type of adapter that is in between the two. And I noticed in some of the kits they have this adapter there to adapt down from the shaft size, or from the shaft size up to the screw size. No, the belts are tight. I'm sure eventually there will be. From my understanding, I haven't seen it in their official website, but the belts, I believe, are carbon fiber reinforced belts. But yeah, almost every 3D printer uses belts, A for quietness and B for quickness. Because if you were to use a ball screw or a threaded rod like this, that would be a lot slower and a lot noisier. The belts are a lot faster reaction, a lot less wear and tear. Yes, they eventually stretch, but the belts are also cheap to replace eventually. And it'll be a really long time before you have to replace the belts. Yeah, I have not ever heard of anybody experiencing backlash with belts. Yeah, there's been some printers I've seen that have a spring tensioner on them. If you go back and watch the previous video from earlier today, Bradley, I don't think you were on. You'll see when I was building this, there's two spots where there's belts. There's a belt that moves the Y carriage with the heated bed back and forth, and then there's a belt that moves the X, the extruder head back and forth. And that belt system, the way they have it, a little odd, but it works because it uses the belt's teeth to your advantage to lock them into place. So that you fold the belt back over itself around a loop and put it into a slot that's just big enough, just smaller than two of them put together, so it squeezes them together. And then you use the motor mount, so you unscrew, in this case, there's 3 bolts that hold this motor on. You unscrew the 2 inner ones, pull the bolts out, the motor gets the hinge in a lot. You tighten the belt up, and then you pull the motor back and put the bolts in, and that tightens the tension on the belt. It's a very similar thing for the Y. If you can see what's printing now, that's the Prusa logo. So it's pretty close to done. Yeah, thanks, Bradley. I'm impressed with the machine. If you've been looking into a 3D printer and you want to get one that works and is good, get this kit, man. I mean, $6.99. It's not cheap. $7 over $700, almost 800 bucks, a little bit over 800 bucks if you get an extra thing of filament. I would recommend getting an extra thing of filament because you're going to want to be printing. I'm already thinking about all the things that I'm going to print. It's definitely, this kit's worth it. Getting to build it is part of the fun, obviously. I had a ton of fun building it. Pretty proud of myself for getting all the calibration done perfectly the first try. And this first print's looking pretty darn sweet to me. 67% done after 24 minutes, so it should be almost done. And then I'm going to show the print off and then go to bed. And if you want, Bradley, if you want to follow me on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube, I will be live streaming at least once per week, or at least posting one video per week. And maybe more if I can find time to live stream other days of the week. I work a pretty hectic schedule, but most Mondays and Tuesdays I'm off. So I'm going to try to live stream or post a good video on Mondays. Yeah, hit the follow button, man. I'm not trying to do anything huge here, but share and give back to the 3D printer community that I've learned so much from over the last few years. And hopefully I can give back enough to help somebody else get into it and continue. The 3D printing community is a open source community, and the more people that get into it, the better it is. You know, and I'm still, I plan on continuing to stream on both Twitch and YouTube. Having a little bit of problems with my internet connection, but I will tell you what, I am streaming all this via Wi-Fi right now, which is pretty stupid fantastic because I'm streaming 1080p at 30 frames per second. Got 0.4% drop frames. I have dropped the stream once or twice. I don't know if that's the Wi-Fi or restream, but right now OBS tells me I'm getting 2,642 kilobits a second. Yeah, I've got really good Wi-Fi. I have really good internet. I have fiber optic running into the house. I rent this house right now, so the owner of the house has fiber optic coming into the house. And we get 150 megabits a second upload and download asymmetrical, which is beautiful. And then the router that they provide is a 10100 1000 with N. So I can theoretically get 100 megabits a second on N, right? Oh, you can read the writing on the stepper? Well, yeah, so I've got one of the nice Logitech 930 cameras. So this camera here is the Logitech 930. That one's the older Logitech 922. And I'm both streaming both at 1080p, so that's funny you can read the small print on the... can you read the screen? I might not be in focus. It's funny you can read the screen too. That's hilarious. Oh, the screen is... oh, because I guess it is bigger and it's more... it's lit up, so it's a little easier to read. I gotcha. I mean, I'm just looking at a little preview of it in OBS, and I can almost read the extruder motor. 95% now, yeah. And I can read the LCD screen on the, it's a little blurry on the preview, and I'm looking at it, it's far away from me. I mean, I can't even touch the screen I'm reading right now. It's like double my arm length away. It's underneath that camera. I don't have a very big room to do this all in, so I did what I could to set up lighting and get it all nice and neat, but it's still not perfect. But I will improve it over time. Oh, I think it's done. It is done. Love it. All right. So I am going to remove it from the print bed. Oh, that is hard to remove. There we go. Got it. It's going to be a little warm. All right, so I'm going to switch cameras real quick. Let's get in on zoom and monitor. Oh, I gotta go to monitor only first. Okay, so give me just a second here. Let me focus this to this print here. You know what? I'm going to do this. Let me edit this one real quick. I'm going to delete, move, yes, and then I am going to get this one, transform, and pick the screen. Okay, so now I can focus this down on this print. So this is only a 720p camera, so I apologize. All right, so let's start with the back. So on the back there, you can see that my the hot end height was a little too high. So let me grab something to point with here. So you can see here, here, throughout here, here, and here. This is because and I'm right here too. This was because the hot end was a little too high. So after I saw all that printing, I adjusted it. Adjusted the height using the Live Z adjust. And again, the Live Z adjust allows you to, while you're printing, adjust within thousands of microns how high the print head is. So if I flip it over, you can see now we're a lot better. That's exactly what a 3D print should look like there. And this isn't even the highest quality 3D print. This is just a pretty low quality 3D print. But for a 3D print, that's pretty darn good, especially if you start looking in between the letters here. You can see how smooth those layers are. And in between layers there. I think this is just the print quality, or rather just the file quality here. Almost everybody's letters look like this. I might want to bring that Z height down a little bit lower. You know what, let me try just bringing that Z height down just a little bit lower. So I'm going to, let me switch back to this real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to preheat for PLA again. I'm going to let that heat back up. And I'm going to start that print again. I'm not going to let it go all the way through because that took 32 minutes. Now I'm about to go to bed. So you set up one of those cheap security cameras to watch your mouth. Hey, whatever it takes, man. There's also, I don't know if you were here whenever I was talking about, but there's also this thing called Octopi, which is using a Raspberry Pi as a computer. And then you hook up a camera to it, and they make mounts that you can print out that mount to one of the corners of the bed here, and grab a Raspberry Pi camera, and you can live stream and even control via USB because you plug in the controller back there via USB to the Raspberry Pi. You can even load prints wirelessly. You can stop prints and start prints wirelessly. And that camera allows you to monitor it all wirelessly, so that's pretty nice. So I am preheated for PLA, so I'm going to go back to the SD card. So print from SD card. Let's print that same one again. Prusa. There we go. So it's heating up the temp. And again, if you weren't here whenever I was printing this last print here, this print comes on the SD card provided by Prusa, already sliced, already pre-programmed for this machine to work properly for the filament that you get from Prusa as well. Because if you start using filament from other vendors, you do have to kind of test it and check out how it works. So you want to do some test prints like this, or something smaller even. Now this is PLA, so this is really brittle stuff. This is an ABS. ABS is a lot more difficult to print, but PLA is pretty easy to print. It helps you get your motor, your machine all tuned in nice. So it just did its 9-point calibration. It's doing a test. So I'm going to watch these first layers, see if it's any better than it was before. So it prints a little raft around the outside edge. That looks better than it did before. That looks a lot better. Sorry, I gotta switch the cameras real quick. There we go. The me cam wasn't up. It always prints the first few layers a little slower because it needs to adhere to the bed really good. Nope, there's a little hiccup there. That was my hands, by the way. Wasn't me. Getting to be that time of night where it's time to get tired. Alright, so let me sneak my head in here. Sorry, my hair is going to get in the way for a sec. That first layer is looking a lot better. I am going to bring it down a little bit, so I'm going to go on the menu. I've adjusted Z. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Sorry, I know my head's getting in the way. I think that's good. So yeah, so it looks like I was under extruding a little bit again on the right side. Looks like I'm still under extruding a little bit. It's starting to lift. Yeah, it was starting to lift. Let's see if the second layer looks any better. Oh, lost you again, Bradley. Help.prusa3d.com. Let's see. Okay, I think I see why I didn't improve on this print. Because you've got to run the V2 calibration code. So my lab Z adjust right now is at negative 0.202. So I'm going to cancel that. That comes off, of course. Yeah. So still under extruding a little bit here. So it says in order to fix that on the Prusa help website that you need to run the G2 code and do live adjust for that. So preheat, PLA, print from SD card, V2 calibration, G code. This thing heats up pretty darn quick. Bed's already heated up. Extruder's almost to temp. Going into 9-point calibration. Oh, that's squished pretty darn well right there. I think that's pretty good. Might be a little too squished even. Let's find out. Let's get off of there. Preheat, PLA. Print from SD card. Let's start the Prusa logo again. Let it do the first layer or two again and see how it looks, and then I'm gonna log off for the night. So see what this first art looks like again. Oh, the purge strip's looking way better. That looks good. Outer perimeter looks like it may be a little too squished. Might need to bring it up a smidgen. Sorry, that's getting in the way again. I apologize. Oh, come on, focus. There you go. All right. Can't tell. I'm underneath the printer here, so my hair is gonna, or underneath the camera here, so my hair is gonna kind of pop up into view every once in a while. I'm trying to see the printer. I want to see what it's doing. It looks like and I know I was saying over extrusion earlier. I just think I was a little too high on the Z height. That's not what I meant. I'm a little too low on the Z height now, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna find out. And something that I meant to do and I forgot is I've got a little journal thing. You should keep a journal of all your prints and when you change settings and when you changed them and what you changed them to, what kind of filament you're using, things like that. Just keep a journal so that you know exactly what you did when you did it, so you can see when something changes, if something goes wrong, if it was something that you did or if it's something going wrong with the hardware, or anything along that line. So keep a journal. That way also if you switch back to a filament and you had luck with a certain settings, you have record of that setting. So it's a good idea. That's the best practice that a couple people on a bunch of YouTube videos have talked about, and I plan on doing. I just need to find my journal, the empty journal that I have, and bring it in here. So I'm going to let it do most of this second layer. PEI sheet grabs hold of this filament really good. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to get a metal one of these because this is not working all that well. It's already starting to tear up the end of it. So these plastic spatulas fail horribly. Yeah, this one's already all torn up. So it looks like I'm gonna have to get a better tool to remove this with. There we go. Wow, that PEI sheet just grabs hold of that. That is a much better looking first layer. So let me go into zoom, and I think I might need to bring it back up a little bit because it looks like it was a little bit too smushed. So let's go back into that one. I need to go monitor only first and then zoom. There we go. So this print here was the first full print, so you can see all of the spots where the Z was way too high and the layers weren't adhering to each other very well, and I had some missed portions up here. This is the second one. It's actually the second layer. Let me turn it back over. I only let it print 2 layers. So here you can see a lot better. Here, still not squished quite enough there, and throughout the rest of the print. And then now this newest one, adjusted the live Z. Let's see if I can get that even closer there. Focus, focus, focus. There we go, much better. So again, see all the separation between all the lines of our print. Some lifting, some out of alignment there, some not finishing here. Just the Z light a little bit lower. Got the finish all the way around the edge. Still some separation, not quite right. Here, much better. Got connect all the way around. I think it's even a little bit over extruding. It's really flat. Don't know what that is there. Looks like maybe a stringing piece caught or anything, but this side looks pretty damn beautiful. Pretty darn beautiful, excuse my language. And then if I flip this over and flip this one over, it's like paper thin almost. And you can take a look at how much more these printing lines have joined together where these did not as much. Even the second layer started to peel a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of the zits right there. I think that's over extrusion. Not sure if something's caught on my nozzle or not. But you can see it was lifting off right there. Lifting off right there. No lifting here. This thing was squished a little too much. Might need to pull that up just slightly. I think about negative 0.242 right now, so I'll bring it up a little bit. So I'm happy with that for tonight. So I am going to shut her down, give her a break for the evening, and go enjoy a couple minutes of family time before we go to bed. The babies are already all asleep, but I get to enjoy some time with my wife. So I wanted to thank all of you for joining me. Get back to this screen here. Oops, monitor only. Monitor only. Overhead and face. There it is. So thank you all for joining me on this adventure. It is going to continue on. So if you like this kind of content, you enjoyed watching these videos, then go ahead and on Twitch follow, or on YouTube subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I go live or pull up or post a new video. Leave me a comment if you'd like to see some content and you have any suggestions. Hit a like. Let me know that I'm doing great, where I can improve if I'm not doing great. But I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch my videos. I hope that you learned something or got some new information, or it just helped you fall back in love or fall in love more with 3D printing. Again, I'm going to be continuing this kind of content more in the near future, so please follow me, subscribe, and join me on this journey into the world of 3D printing. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a wonderful night, and be kind to each other.